Every year, presidents, prime ministers, and CEOs from around the world are sequestered together in the remote mountain village of Davos, Switzerland, for the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum. Now, while the exclusiveness and secrecy of the meeting certainly adds to their mystery, a number of proposals that have surfaced confirm that the WEF believes that creating a, quote, better future requires their controlling and engineering virtually every aspect of political and economic life around the globe. Here are the top 5 creepiest, most dystopian things pushed by the World Economic Forum. Before we begin, I am Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, and I'm interested in what you think, so make sure to comment below. Let us know what you think are the creepiest things that are coming out of Davos. And of course, give this video a like and smack that bell and subscribe button. Without further ado, here are the 5 creepiest, most dystopian things coming out of Davos. Number 5, pushing for a Great Reset. The Great Reset was the theme of the 50th gathering of the World Economic Forum in 2021, summarized in their conference video.
The pandemic has radically changed the world as we know it, and the actions we take today as we work to recover will define our generation.
Now is the time to think what history would say about this crisis.
2020 has been challenging on a lot of levels, as economic, environmental, and societal frailties have been laid bare. But it's also proved that when we need to, we can act rapidly and restructure our lives.
The recovery from the pandemic is an opportunity. We can see rays of hope in the form of a vaccine, but there is no vaccine for the planet. Nature needs a bailout.
You don't want to go back to the status quo that you had before simply because it was the status quo that got us here.
With everything falling apart, we can reshape the world in ways we couldn't before. Ways that better address so many of the challenges we face. And that's why so many are calling for a Great Reset. A Great Reset? That sounds more like buzzword bingo masking some nefarious plan for world domination. Hands up, this kind of slogan hasn't gone down well. But all we really want to say is that we all have an opportunity to build a better world. And it's not surprising.
Yes, we all have the opportunity to build a better world, and that's why we're all invited to Davos every year, aren't we? I love how they mock the concerns of conspiracy theorists, only to then go on to justify precisely those concerns. At this conference, the WEF reiterated its belief that a globalized world is best managed by a self-selected coalition of multinational corporations, governments, and civil society organizations who work in tandem to impose policies and values that end up benefiting them at our expense. And the Great Reset involved strategizing how the pandemic restrictions could be used to intensify their managerial rule effectively over the world. Number 4, recalibrating freedom of speech. At the latest meeting in Davos, a number of speakers talked about creating business conditions that in effect control the choices of consumers in order to, quote, make this a better world. But perhaps the most brazen example comes from the Australian e-safety commissioner, Julie Innan-Grant, who claimed that businesses are going to have to, in her words, recalibrate the notion of free speech online.
We are finding ourselves in a place where we have increasing polarization everywhere, and everything feels binary when it doesn't need to be. So I think we're going to have to think about a recalibration of a whole range of human rights that are playing out online, from freedom of speech to the freedom to, to be free from online violence, or the right of data protection to the right to child dignity.
Now, besides the fact that I actually have no idea what this woman is actually talking about, isn't it telling that not a single person at Davos stood up and asked, excuse me, who the hell are you to recalibrate anyone's rights, let alone human rights? But of course, this is what the WEF is all about. They're not about finding solutions to problems in their own spheres of influence. They're not about blaming governments or corporations for all the problems of the world. No. They're all about shifting responsibility for all of that over to you. You are the problem with all of your polarizations. Number 3, tracking your clothes. That's right. The adults in Davos want to install microchips into your clothing so that they can track that clothing according to digital IDs. Now, it gets creepier given the fact that they never quite explain precisely what digital IDs embedded in our clothes actually does. They claim it's going to help the environment, but we're not sure how. They claim it's going to enable them to resell the clothing, but that's not clear either. They do mention digital passports being embedded in the clothing ID, but then again, why anyone would actually want this or benefit from this still remains a mystery. Number 2, smartphones will be in your body by 2030. At the last Davos meeting, Nokia CEO Pekka Lundmark claimed that in just a few years, we could actually become physically united with our smartphones. Take a look.
I wanted to ask when you all think we're going to move from this form factor to something that's on your face, glasses, and when computing's all on the edge.
All right, 50 seconds. Who wants to answer quickly?
I think it will go. It will. First of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface.
Wow.
Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
That's right. According to the dolts at Davos, 6G technology promises to turn you and me into full-blown cyborgs. Now, before I announce the number 1 creepiest, most dystopian thing pushed by the WEF, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And make sure to click on that link below and check out our awesome merch where you can support this channel while spreading patriot hope far and wide. Click on that link or visit store.turleytalks.com. That's store.turleytalks.com. All right, the number 1 creepiest, most dystopian thing pushed by the WEF, the motto from the 26th meeting, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Without a doubt, this was perhaps the single most dystopian moment in WEF history. In 2016, Ida Auken, a member of parliament in Denmark, said, quote, "Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better." The WEF loved that quote so much that it tweeted it out, and in an article posted on their website, they developed the concept even further, imagining a world where all ownership turns into rentorship. All production turns into services such that no one will actually own anything, but will avail themselves of services provided solely by WEF-controlled corporations, services that are either rented or delivered. The system would in effect make all humans completely dependent on the WEF. There would be absolutely no autonomy, no freedom, and no privacy. And according to the WEF, you'll be happy. And now the good news in all this is that the world is moving more and more away from globalism, and it's increasingly embracing tribalism, nationalism, and civilizationalism, which are together totally recalibrating the world away from the dolts in Davos. Oh, sure, they may cause some problems in the interim, but rest assured, the days of the WEF having any real influence in the world are indeed coming to an end. The days of the WEF are over. Their dystopian fantasies have been crushed by their very own demise. Over to you. Tell us what you think in the comments below. And before you go, you'll definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded where we explore the question, are we experiencing a demonic uprising? From the Uvalde shootings to the coming famine to the implosion of our borders to our inept leaders, are we experiencing as a nation a massive demonic attack? A number of pundits think so. I think you're going to find it very fascinating. So make sure to click on that link and I'll see you over there. God bless.